Pittsburgh Yards is a dynamic, commercial, residential, and recreational hub that is enhancing the character of a community with heritage on Atlanta's South Side. Here, every month is Black History Month. Hello, I'm Michelle DeShields. Welcome to Inside PY, highlighting Atlanta's Pittsburgh Yards entrepreneurial ecosystem. In future episodes of Inside PY, we'll be putting the spotlight on businesses, organizations, and budding entrepreneurs who operate right here. But today, Walter Slayton is going to tell us a little bit about this 31-acre site and give you a tour of this vibrant space where residents can work, create, shop, and be inspired.
So my role is property management as well as leasing here at Pittsburgh Yards. So I'm responsible for all of the operations on the building side as well as the tenant engagement as it relates to leasing opportunities. So the building is broken up into three different wings. There's a north wing, there's a south wing, there's a west wing. Each wing is color coded. There is the gold wing, which is the north wing. And that is the wing where we try to curate certain tenants, particularly in the traditional 9-to-5 business operations side of the house. It's also considered more the quieter side of the building. We have the south wing, which is the wing that is for our creative tenants that is a little bit noisier, but it allows for that creative users, so photographers, the graphic designers. We have some construction management firms in that south wing as well, makers or distribution, packaging, manufacturing. It has a door that allows for them to be able to produce a bit more noise than you can in the main portion of the building because it is behind a sound barrier wall. So the co-working membership option provides access to the building, and similar to other co-working buildings around town, you get access to the shared spaces, the coffee amenities, the conference room spaces. But one of the things that sets us apart from the other co-working opportunities around town is that you do have 24/7 access to the building, and you do receive opportunities to engage with the tenants in the building, as well as you're connected to our Pittsburgh Yards network, where we are providing services with some of our partners in the building, like Invest Atlanta and Village United. The co-working memberships are open to anyone that needs access to a co-working space. It doesn't matter if you are part of the Pittsburgh neighborhood or any of the surrounding communities. Those are open to anyone, and you don't have to have a business to be a co-working member. You just have to have a need for the co-working use of space. So a co-working member would get access to obviously the main space. There's also a couple of conference room spaces that one is able to use, and those are available as shared space when they're not reserved for specific events or specific meetings. There's also a amenity space where we have a rooftop terrace that's available for co-working members as well as tenants to use for meetings, events, and just in a wonderful, beautiful day, you're able to use this space as just a space to take a break and capture some of the sun while you're working as well. You just go to the PittsburghYards.com website. There is an events page that allows you to RSVP for a tour. We recommend that everyone take the opportunity to tour so you can determine whether or not Pittsburgh Yards is the perfect place for you. Once you do that, you go into the application portal where you fill that form out, and we try to respond to you within 24 to 48 hours in terms of whether you confirming for that tour. And at the tour time, once one decides whether they want to go the pathway of co-working or leasing, the next step is really determining start date. The tours are held every second Thursday of the month. They're held at both 11:30 as well as 2:30. They run about 30 minutes to 45 minutes depending upon the size of the group and the number of questions that are typically asked during that time. And they're also offered ad hoc if there are times where individuals aren't able to meet during those specific times. So we're able to accommodate and be flexible with folks that don't have the availability to meet during the 11:30 and 2:30 hours. Well, I think the difference in this project and others as it relates to the culture the fact that it's embedded within the community feels a part of the project and the building as a whole. Things like the Atlanta Beltline that brings in the neighbors as well as tenants and co-working members, the events as well, really contribute to make it a more organic space than your typical co-working or office space that you would find in your classic tower downtown. I think that being in this space, the opportunity to be able to network with folks that you probably wouldn't be able to interact with in any other capacity is kind of what sets this building apart from others.
Nia is Swahili for purpose. And that's something that every business has in common here in the Nia Building. Take a look at what's been going on.
Today we're having a pop-up shop at the Nia Building, and it is different vendors come out to showcase the items that they have. Our business is Nandy Soul & Sweets. We are a soul food truck. We're located out there today. So we have soul food ranging from ribs, chicken, fish, hamburgers, key lime cake, and red velvet cake. Yes, you can reach us at Nandy's, on all social media outlets at Nandy Soul & Sweets. You can also visit our website at nandysoulandsweets.com.
So today at Pittsburgh Yards, we're having an event called Black Love. We're celebrating Black designers. So we have 3 different designers in the showroom. Well, actually in the conference room across from our showroom. One is Avion and John, and they do leather handmade bags. Then we have Thornby, and she does handmade kimonos. And then we have Mike from Embellish, and she does beautiful handmade jewelry. So it's just an opportunity to have some local designers come in and just celebrate their creativity. So I'm Jay, one of the owners of Weathered Not Worn, and this is our showroom here. We're at Pittsburgh Yards. We inspire people to embrace their story and express their style through our custom weathered camo and denim pieces. We've been in business now for 5 years, and we're just having a blast. So we have a website, weatherednotworn.com. You can also book an appointment to come visit us in the showroom here at Pittsburgh Yards on University Avenue. And you can also catch some of our apparel at the Village at Ponce City Market.
Chantel Glenn shares the backstory on why the Annie E. Casey Foundation became a funding partner to support this unique redevelopment endeavor. And we'll take a close look at the impact that Pittsburgh Yards is having on the surrounding community.
The mission of Annie E. Casey Foundation focuses on thriving families. In Atlanta, we have a place-based strategy in which we focus on 3 result areas: education, achievement, economic opportunity, and neighborhood transformation. The Pittsburgh Yards project falls under our neighborhood transformation portfolio of work, where we focus on community and economic development initiatives. In particular with Pittsburgh Yards, really honing in on job creation and scaling entrepreneurship for neighboring residents. Back in 2006, by a real estate entity under the Annie E. Casey Foundation, we did source other funds to support the project, with the real estate entity being the largest supporter in terms of funding, but the project does include federal dollars, New Markets Tax Credit, as well as a grant from the Economic Development Administration. When the site was purchased, unfortunately, right after that, a couple of years later, it was a time where we all experienced, the impact from the housing crisis. And the foundation turned its work over to focus on affordable housing and purchased a good bit of properties in the neighborhood that we're sitting in right now. And, to get residents who wanted to stay in their neighborhood the ability to do that. So worked with housing partners to rehab and put properties back on the market at an affordable rate. So once that was stabilized, we then shifted our focus to the Pittsburgh Yards project. There, got the land ready for development, but at the same time included neighbors by, opportunities to activate the site with festivals, with art, also involving them in the early planning stages with the feasibility studies, asking them what they wanted to see here. And what came out of that work was the emphasis on job creation and entrepreneurship for those residents that wanted to participate.
We've had some incredible events. But I can't take any credit. It's the team. There's their genius that's coming up with all these incredible things. But the most important thing, and the reason why we chose to partner with PY and the Pittsburgh Yard community, and why we work so closely with people like Walter, because they actually care. They care about the community first and foremost. You are not just a tenant here. You're a seeing, you're a value. This is a place for you to be able to really be nurtured.
And also another work group, we wanted to figure out what food access would look like at Pittsburgh Yards. So a farmers market work group was crafted to be able to concentrate on that. And now what that led to is a community-led farmers/makers market that meets here every Saturday through from March through November. Yes, well, we were really intense around this project being accessible to people that already live on the south side of Atlanta. Over 40% of our tenants and co-working members who are from this side of town who are accessing this space. So our targeted markets, when we were assessing who this place would be for, doing an assessment of what existing businesses, what industries were already out there in our community, and it was decided that beauty and health, product makers, the trades, those that are makers, making things, crafting things out of wood, metal, also professional services. We wanted to see that ecosystem here, particularly with the folks offering professional services, so that these other business owners could connect to them and have what they need inside of Pittsburgh Yards. And we're seeing that now. We have a construction design professional who's outfitting spaces for some of our tenants here. We have an architect who's doing plans for the commercial kitchen tenant. We're seeing that synergy here, and it's working. So we're still technically in phase 1 of the development of the property. The next phase is, or I should say the next component in the phase is the container courtyard, where we wanted to provide an opportunity for businesses that wanted to actually own space along the Beltline could have the opportunity to do so. We're offering ground leases for those businesses to come in and acquire and fabricate their own containers and then locate them in the container courtyard. And those will be businesses who are more kind of customer centric. So we have some food businesses coming into the space as well as retail. And what success looks like is, continuing to help entrepreneurs to scale. We're already seeing tenants moving out, even though we, would love to maintain their business here. But the fact that we were able to provide a place for them to come in and build their business, and now they need more space so they can hire more people. That's exactly the intent of this project, and we're not done. Ultimately, we have a job goal of 1,000 jobs across the site. So in order to be able to see that, and we're already seeing over 150 people working just in the Nia Building, we're on our way.
Thanks for watching Inside PY. And if you want to be a part of all this, visit PittsburghYards.com to schedule your tour. I'm Michelle Teshia.